Welcome back to another episode of Defy the Odds Basketball podcast. I'm your host, Wyatt Guerin, and in today's episode, we are going to be talking about confidence and how to build it. I think this is a super important topic for athletes. I've definitely, I've received some recommendations to go over this one, and I've definitely seen, I struggled with this playing when I played basketball, like competitively, and I've seen a lot of my athletes struggle with this. And it just even like on social media, you just see this keep popping up as a constant problem in the basketball world. So we're going to dive a bit into it today, and I'm going to focus mostly on giving you guys practical things to think about and to work on to build confidence. So before we do get into it though, if you do enjoy these episodes and the podcast itself, make sure to leave a rating, a like, also follow the podcast and drop a comment on any ideas that you want me to go over in the future. I'm always looking for some inspiration. And again, this podcast is to serve athletes, players, coaches, trainers. So I want to hear what you guys want to learn more about. And if you do like this type of content, make sure to also check out our Instagram and YouTube, where we post more content like this. You can find it at Defy the Odds Basketball, or you can visit the links in the description of this episode. So with that being said, let's get right into this episode. So I think a misconception about confidence is maybe not even a misconception, but like a lack of awareness of how we get confidence and how we get a better mindset. At the end of the day, we have to train it. We have to train our mindset. We have to train our confidence, just like you would with your shooting, ball handling, finishing, anything like that, right? It's a skill. Mindset, having a strong mindset, having confidence. It's not easy. And I think I shouldn't say that. It's just, even with my personal experience, it just seems like confidence eventually just shows up. And I think it's super hard with sports and confidence, especially basketball, because it's so result based. Every sport is, but I feel like basketball just is a bit different in the sense of people think, if the shots aren't hitting, you're not a good player. Like if you can't hit a shot, you're not a good player. But it comes down to, you don't have control. Basketball is one of those sports where you don't have as much control as maybe other sports. And I'm kind of like hesitating as I say all of this, because I'm thinking at the same time back to, I used to play hockey, and then I switched to basketball. And in hockey, I felt like I had a lot more control over my game, right? I was also a goalie, so I feel like a lot more control, right? There was obviously stuff I couldn't control. But again, I was in like my own world, right? And I could kind of control what I wanted to, right? And usually shots went in, either maybe unlucky, or it was like on me. And I feel like that's a common thing in basketball, like that idea. But if you want to make the shot, like every time you shoot the ball, you want to make the shot, right? So if you want to make the shot, then why doesn't it go in, right? I've seen that quite a bit, right? Like where players get down on themselves because they miss and stuff. I'm like, well, if you wanted to make it, then you would have made it, right? So it's not so much as like defined. I don't know if that's the right word, but like if X equals this, then Y equals right. It's not as finite, right? Like there's other variables in play here, right? And even the best guys in the world, like Steph Curry, only shoots like 40% from three, and 40% from three is like looked at as like, wow, if they're shooting that consistently, right? Like with a high volume, of shots. So we have to, again, perspective, and that's one of our tools here, is perspective, right? Perspective of basketball is chaotic. It's not forgiving, right? So you're going to miss shots, you're going to make mistakes, but that's basketball, right? And I think players need to come to an understanding of that you're never going to be perfect. And I've always said to my players, right, if you're playing perfect, like you have no turnovers, haven't missed a shot, and like you haven't made a single mistake, then you're either playing too complacent, like you're playing too, like sit in the corner, do nothing. You maybe hit one shot and you haven't touched the ball, or you having the best game of your life and it's like once in a lifetime. So failure, and we talked about this in our very first ever episode, failure is inevitable if you're pushing yourself, right? If you're, pushing yourself to reach your full potential, failure is going to happen. And especially in basketball, it's just basketball, you're going to make mistakes. And I think people have to come to sense with that and accept that and be okay with that and learn how to handle that and how to bounce back, right? So in game, you make a mistake, it's going to happen. But what are you going to do next? And I always say to my athletes, you miss a shot, who cares? If I'm a coach, right, I don't care the shot didn't go in. I care about what you do after that shot missed, right? Are you getting all mad and like sitting there like pouting, like, oh my God, I missed. I can't believe I missed. I've been working on that shot for the last, year. Or are you getting back on defense and contributing something? In basketball, there is stuff you can control and stuff you can't, right? Stuff you can control. You can control your attitude, right? You can control your body language. You can control like your mindset in a sense, right, of attitude and body language, right? So if you miss a shot, right, and you get all pouty, that's going to have like an effect, like a cycle where it's just going to, like a loophole, right? But if you stay positive through that, right, and you go and like you immediately switch your focus to going to get a stop, right? And you focus on these little things, right? Get a stop, right? Get a rebound, right? Dive for the loose ball, take a charge. These little things that you can control, right, are going to build and help get you into the flow state. And the other part of that is like even just staying positive. Like if you make a mistake, laugh it off, right? Tell yourself, oh man, I don't make that mistake often. So like laugh. Like you see NBA players make a mistake and they're laughing, smiling. And you're like, what? Even like the announcers are like, why is it like basically like confused on why this guy's smiling? And it's because he hasn't put so much emphasis on that mistake to the point where that mistake is like haunting him. He knows that it's not what he usually does. He knows it's a one-time thing, and he knows that he has confidence in himself, to go get the ball and make the right play the next time. And even if he doesn't, I doubt that affects his mindset. Right? So smile, laugh it off, right? That tells your body like, hey, we're here. And if you can stay positive, you're going to have a lot better chance at staying like successful in a sense. And even like with your teammates, high fives, right? Dap them up, right? Pat them on the back, talk to them, right? Like communicate these little things that you can control. Focus on those, right? Don't focus on making the shot, right? Like obviously we want to shoot to make it. We don't want to shoot to hope it goes in. We want to shoot to make it, right? But you can't put so much emphasis on what happens after that, right? As soon as that ball comes out of your hand, you have no control over it. You can't like guide it with a remote control, right? So we have to stop putting so much emphasis on that and letting that dictate if we're good or not, right? One bad game does not mean we're bad, right? Like in one good game, doesn't mean like we're the best, right? So we have to stay in that, because there's a difference between confidence and cockiness. And this kind of goes into my next point. We want to stop, I'll come back to that point, but how you talk to yourself and kind of what you almost manifest, you will start to believe it. And with this, we also have to just overall improve our self-talk and positive thinking. I hear athletes, and I was like this, oh my God, I was so bad with this. When I went into high school, it was COVID. So like the year before my first year in high school, it was like the start of COVID. So I was like practicing all outside every day in the beating hot sun on a gravel driveway that was on a slant so bad that when you stood under the net, it was like 9.5 feet. And when you stood at the 3-point line, it was 10 feet. And, I still put the work in, but I was really bad with bad self-talk and negative thinking. And that greatly affected my mindset, my confidence, and my love for the game, right? So we have to improve our self-talk and positive thinking, right? And again, kind of ties back into what we just talked about with, one missed shot doesn't make you a bad player, right? Especially like in a game where 40% is looked at as impressive. And in practice is where we should be missing, right? Practice is preparing us for the game. We should be missing, right? If you're not missing, the practice isn't hard enough. You're not getting better, right? If you're just making every shot, you're just maintaining, right? You're not building. So we want to improve our self-talk. This kind of comes into reflection on like the outcomes that we just kind of talked about, and then the positive thinking. And how we talk to ourselves and how much you repeat it would determine if you believe in it. So there's a difference between being confident and cocky. We don't want to walk around after one good game and think we're the best in the school and we that guy, right? That's not how it works, right? We want to be confident in ourselves. We don't care. You shouldn't care what other people think about you and if they think you're good or not. It's about what you think about yourself. And again, this is a fine line between confidence and cocky. You're confident in your ability, in your work, right? And this comes from reflection. Reflect on the work you put in. You're confident that how much work you put in got you to where you wanted to be, right? Reflect on your journey, your progress, your goals. You made the rep team, right? What does that mean? That should build with some confidence, right? You got there, right? You made that happen. Not these other guys. These other guys maybe didn't make the team. Maybe they did. But it doesn't matter what's going on the outside. It matters about you and your mindset, your confidence, all of that, right? So stop caring about what other people think. And again, like honestly, like with confidence, you got to fake it until you make it almost. Like you got kind of, and again, fine line between confidence and cocky, but you got to tell yourself this, right? You got to tell yourself like if you tell yourself you suck and you're bad, you will start to think that, right? But if you tell yourself like you're a good player, right? You earned this, right? You worked super hard. Like your brain will start to actually believe this, right? Because even if it's not fully true, but it will start to believe this. And for the most part, it probably is true. I'm not like saying like you're bad, but right? Telling yourself this is super important, right? Building that mental solitude, like that strength, that mental strength. And you're just trust in yourself. That's like what confidence is, right? So that's a great tool. And that kind of goes into our next tool. So a couple of practical tools I like for confidence building is 1, journaling, 2, meditation, 3, visualization, 4, challenges. So with my athletes, I always have them journal every day. And usually and I'll give you kind of like the format of this, so you guys can do it as well. So journaling, usually I have them start up in the morning and write down like 5 things that they're grateful for every day. Other thing I have them write down is a goal for themselves that day. So a challenging goal that is attainable. So for me, I've always struggled socially. So that might be for me going to talk to somebody that I've never talked to before and starting a conversation with someone, like a random person, right? So I'm working on a skill and I'm also overcoming a challenge. We'll get into challenges a bit more after and why they're so important in this. With journaling too, constantly write down like your goals. So you should have I would say maybe 3 main goals, maybe an on-court goal, an off-court goal, maybe an in the class, like in school goal, but 3 goals, and write them down, rewrite them every morning, and then write down like a to-do list for the day. So what you want to get done, not a schedule, just write down like some stuff you want to get done. So you're reading, a workout, your meditation, right? That kind of stuff. Other part, and then at the end of the day with journaling, we are writing down, just kind of checking off if you got your to-do list done, and checking off if you got the goal done, and reflect on that goal. So reflect on how it made you feel. How did you feel after you accomplished it? And even just reflect on the day itself, right? And continue. This is where that positive reinforcement comes in of telling yourself, right, like how, you worked hard today, how you're seeing improvement, how you're becoming a better player, that kind of positive self-talk. So the next tool here is meditation. Super important one here. So again, kind of building that mental solitude, mental toughness. So there's two types you could do here. I always like to go maybe 5 to 10 minutes here. One, you could either clear your mind completely, okay, and just focus on your breath. Two, you could let just every thought come in, where you just kind of, something pops into your head, you think about it maybe, right? And you're just kind of letting thoughts come in and out and in and out. You're not really focusing on maybe any specifically. And then the last one, and this is our next tool actually, is like visualization. Visualization can be done both in meditation and like actually playing basketball, and I'll get into that. So first part of visualization with meditation is you could just visualize success. What does that look like, right? How did you get there, right? How does it feel? And the second part is visualizing a game. So visualize yourself playing a game of basketball, right? Maybe in the championship game, right? And this is like you're playing like your best game here, right? Like how does it feel? Try and feel the movement, the shooting, like the feeling of the ball going through the net, the feeling of getting stops on defense, and just having a commanding presence in the game, and like try and be immersed in that feeling. So for these 3 types of meditation, cycle through them. Go do a bit of everything, right? Don't just do one variation. Do a bit of everything. Like switch it up each day. I mean, visualization could also be done on the court, and this is a good tool as well. And this visualization is similar to the meditation, where you're visualizing yourself in a game. It's a great tool for just improving your game and for, your mindset. So you're thinking about what the game is doing, like happening, like the time on the board, the score, the shot clock, where the defense is, what the scenario is, what you're doing, and how you're commanding the game, right? Think about where the help defense is and try and score in a variety of ways. And the last one here is challenges. So I talked about challenges in journaling. Challenges are so good for confidence. And I think my favorite way of doing this is like a shooting challenge, say. So at the end of the practice, everyone's like, okay, I just got to make one more shot to finish and go home. I challenge you to do not that. That's like you pick one shooting challenge. So say, the example I always give is corner shooting. So you shoot from one corner, you shoot one shot, sprint to the next corner, you shoot one shot, and then you just cycle through for 10 shots. Set yourself a challenging goal that you have to make at least maybe like say 6 out of 10 or more. You get 3 attempts to finish, like attempt that goal, right? If you attempt it and in the first try, you gotta go home. You're done, right? If you attempt it in the second try, you're done. You gotta go home. If you attempt it in the third try, still you gotta go home. If you don't attempt it or if you don't succeed in any of them, right? If you don't get the goal, if you don't accomplish it, you still go home, right? Don't go and finish with a make, because that is short-term confidence. That's not long-term confidence. That one make that you see go in at the end of the day, at the end of the practice, is short-term confidence, just to help fill your body with dopamine, this good chemical feeling. But it won't last, because next practice you're going to have to make one more. Right? It's going to repeat. And I've been in this scenario too, right? So if you accomplish the challenge, reflect on it, how it made you feel, and this is going to build long-term confidence, because it's actually a result of like an accomplishment from you had to overcome something, and this is going to build long-term confidence. And if you don't succeed in it, you don't get it in the 3 tries or the 4 tries, you go home and again, you reflect on it, how it made you feel, and you use that so-called quote unquote failure, and feel like build that fire under you to the point where you want to come back to the next practice and accomplish it, right? That's what's going to build like a dog in a player and what's going to build long-term confidence. And my favorite example of this is like the dopamine. So if you don't know what dopamine is, it's like what your body, like it's like that feel good chemical that your body releases. And this is what you get like when you scroll social media, this short-term like quick, instant dopamine. But they often call this like artificial dopamine, because it's not. Dopamine is usually a reward-based chemical. So if you complete something, like say you went on a run, you get a influx of dopamine because you accomplished something, right? But when you are scrolling your phone, you're like faking it. And this is the same with confidence, right? When like a player's doing the Mikan drill, and then you see a shot go in and in and in. Well, one, you're not probably getting any better if you're already a good player. And two, it's just that quick, like you just want to see the ball go in. And it's before a game or something, like whatever. But if that's like what you're relying on, it's probably not the best. That's why I think challenges, just like dopamine, where if you accomplish something, you get that influx, and that's what maybe keeps you going. Long term comes from accomplishing things, right? Overcoming something hard, right? That like long-term confidence comes from you put the work in, and what better way to overcome challenges? So I challenge you to reflect on that and what you can do in practice, maybe to alter some behaviors. And you could include this in like all of your workouts, right? Include like maybe a target, or you have to make a certain amount of makes in each exercise, like in each drill, instead of just shooting a certain amount of shots. Maybe you have to make a certain amount. Instead of shooting a certain amount of shots, you have to make a certain amount of shots before you move on to the next drill. So I challenge you to critically think about where you can implement this. And I also critically think, or not critically think, I challenge you to kind of think about these tools, and if you're doing them already, and look at how your confidence is and what you could do to improve it out of these things that we talked about. I guess your self-talk bad. How could you improve that? Are you doing these like extra things to help improve your confidence, right? So again, critically reflect on these things, and I challenge you for like the next week, implement like just a couple of things. Don't try and implement everything at once. Try a couple of things out. Okay, so pick a couple of your favorite things, maybe the easiest to implement into your schedule right now, and try it. Okay, see how it goes, and then build on it. Right, keep adding. Right, and keep reflecting. It's not, again, Rome wasn't built in a day. Confidence isn't going to be built in a day. But, by improving your confidence, by training it with, improving your self-talk, positive thinking, reflecting through journaling, meditation, and the challenges, overcoming challenges, I think will be a big one for you to improve your confidence. So give this a shot. Let me know how it goes. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Defy the Odds Basketball, the podcast. If you do enjoy these episodes, please make sure to give the podcast a follow, leave a rating, and drop a comment on any ideas that you want me to go over in future episodes. And if you do like this type of content and want to see more like it, then make sure to follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Defy the Odds Basketball. Your support means a lot. See you in the next episode.